Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match preview on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. What a game it was last night against the mighty Real Madrid, as Liverpool produced a dominant 2-0 victory to top the Champions League table, 5 wins out of 5. And for me, that is what you call a statement win, and also sends out a huge message to the rest of Europe that we mean business this season. And it's also the perfect message to our Premier League rivals and current champions, Man City. Now, if they weren't concerned about us before the Madrid game, they should be quaking in their boots right now. So let's begin the show by discussing the team form, and we'll start with Man City. So, not the best of runs under Pep Guardiola. In the last 7 games, they've won 1, they drew 1, and they also lost 5, which it's funny because when you put those numbers together, it presents 115, just like the Chargers. So, sorry, I couldn't help myself. But in all seriousness, they've been in the mud recently. 3 back-to-back defeats in the Premier League, with Tottenham thrashing them last week 4-0, which was a complete crazy scoreline. Then in midweek, they were 3-0 up against Feyenoord in the Champions League and ended up drawing the game 3-3. And the Feyenoord fans were singing Arne Slot's song earlier in the game, and also they sang "You Never Walk Alone" towards the end, which was priceless. But let's be honest, it's not what you expect from Man City. Yes, they've got one of their best players injured in Rodri, but I'm sorry, no one brought us or gave us any sympathy over the years when we went through serious injury crisis. The season that Van Dijk got injured all those years ago, we had 0 centre backs at the club. Fabinho and Henderson had to do a makeshift job there. So I'll tell you for a fact, they're not getting any sympathy from me. Let's speak in more current terms. In recent weeks, Liverpool have been without Alisson, who is our number 1 goalkeeper. Harvey Elliott, who some fans believe that he should be our main number 10. Diogo Jota, who everyone knows is our gunman. Chiesa, who hasn't been unleashed yet. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is the world's best right back in world football. So, this all gets swept to one side when it comes to Liverpool. But hey, I believe we deserve more credit than we should. It's not our fault that we have the right quality in terms of squad depth this season. If Man City haven't signed an adequate replacement for Rodri in that CDM role, that's a you problem. I don't, seek credit from rival fans, but what I can say is I'm very proud of how our team and our squad have stepped up this season, especially some of our squad players. So honorable mentions go to the likes of Kelleher, who for me is the best number 2 in world football. And I have to be honest, I think we should try and keep him for one more season at least, and maybe send Mamadashvili out on loan next summer again. For me, it would just seem criminal to sell him after such a fantastic season so far. But that's just my feeling right now. And obviously, I'm probably going off by his performance from yesterday. But in general terms, he's been fantastic whenever he's played for us. So I feel like it would be a bit premature to sell him next summer. But let's see. That's another discussion for another day, I guess. Conor Bradley, whenever called upon, always gives it his all. And yesterday's performance against one of the world's elite players in Mbappe showed that Conor Bradley can play and compete at the highest level. And Gravenberch, for me, he's been our diamond in the rough, and boy, does he shine bright in this Liverpool midfield. I really hope we can add another midfielder this January to support him in the coming months as we, seek for silverware this season. And that's just to name a few in terms of players that have really stepped up for me. Otherwise, I can be singing praises of all of our players until the cows come home. So let's talk about Liverpool's form. And why not? We have every right to gloat at this stage of the season. In the last 5 games in the Premier League, we won 4 and drew once against Arsenal. In the Champions League, as I mentioned earlier in the show, 5 wins out of 5. So we're in great form, especially with the performance that we were able to produce last night. one of our best team performances, I would say, so far this season. And the funny thing is, there is still a lot to come from this team. We've got more levels to unlock. So buckle up and get ready because we will be playing more attacking football going forward. We'll be more indulged in terms of Arne Slot's way of playing, and the players will be adapted more towards his tactics in the coming months and years, and however you want to phrase it. The future is bright at Liverpool right now. So, as a Liverpool fan, you've got to show a bit of chest. It's what I would say. But I'll leave it to you guys in terms of how you want to represent your team. In terms of head-to-head and the record at Anfield between these two sides, Man City do not have the best of records. The last time they beat us at Anfield was in 2021, with the score ending 4-1. But before that, it was 2003. So, when City fans say the power of Anfield isn't real, well, it is, and the stats will back it up. That the aura, however you want to phrase it, is real when it comes to the atmosphere at Anfield. So the odds are on Liverpool's side in order to get the win. Historically, we have a great record against City at Anfield, and we're in supreme form right now in all competition. But we've all watched the game enough to know that's not exactly how it works in football, as they're still a dangerous team and it can definitely cause an upset because Liverpool will be regarded as favourites for this fixture, but they can certainly cause some sort of havoc or even get all 3 points. You can't really rule it out. But what we'll do now is we'll go through the team news and I'll present my predicted lineups with a tactical breakdown as well. In terms of the Liverpool team news, as we all know, yesterday Conor Bradley picked up, it looked like to be a hamstring injury. I thought he might have picked up cramp, but I haven't received or seen any confirmation in terms of the extent of that injury. But if something has popped up in the last few hours, please feel free to let me know in the chat. But as of yet, I'm not sure if he'll be available. And the same goes for Konate, although the way he was limping off the pitch was a concern. Endrick ended up falling on top of his leg, and Endrick is a unit himself, so it's probably a bit of a sore one. But I'm getting mixed news all over social media that they could both be available for this fixture. So for today's sake, I'll just say that they're both available. But obviously, things change, then obviously the lineup will be different. But we'll just go on the basis that they could be available for this fixture. Alisson and Harvey Elliott have returned from injury and they are training with the team. And so they should be back in the squad. Whether they start remains to be seen. And then you've got the likes of Jota, Chiesa, and Tsimikas still out, unfortunately, due to injury. For Man City, as we all know, Rodri is a long-term casualty. And to be fair, I don't expect him to play any part this season. A player that ended up taking his role was Kovacic, but he's actually now picked up an injury and could be out for at least a month. And then John Stones remains to be a doubt for the fixture after missing the midweek fixture against Feyenoord. So that's the team news that I can currently see on the net. Obviously, we'll probably get more developments tomorrow as both managers will be doing their press conferences. But for today, what we'll do, we'll predict both lineups. But instead of me doing the home team like I normally do, I'm going to go with the away team and try and analyze or try and predict what I think the lineup could be and how Pep Guardiola might set up. So they've been playing a lot of formation. So this is, even a formation is going to be a guessing game because they've played 4-1-4-1, they played 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-4-2-1 at times. They've played a variation of formations this season. So it's going to be very hard to point at what formation they will go. I think the safe bet would be a 4-3-3. I think that's a formation that he's normally deployed against us in the past. And I think in terms of personality, probably what would be required or what he has that could definitely benefit his team going forward, and hopefully, from their side that they could get something out of the game. So the players that I think could be lined up, obviously Ederson in goal. No surprise there. Right back, it's between Rico Lewis and Kyle Walker. Rico Lewis has been quite active in recent weeks, but at the same time, that gives me a slight gut instinct that Kyle Walker might be played in this game because he hasn't been utilized that much. So maybe he's saved him for this game, so he's fresh and ready. So I'm going to go with Kyle Walker at right back. He's not had the best of seasons to be, so that's something we need to try and capitalize on. I know he's still a very quick fullback, but not as quick as he used to be. So definitely something we can try and capitalize on and try and take to our advantage. Centre back position, Kanji, I think will definitely start in this one. I'm going to go with Diaz, who's just started playing in recent weeks. I think they'll reinstate him in the team. It's generally Ake and Akanji. I think for this fixture, he might just go for Ruben Diaz in terms of what he brings to the table, his physicality, and his aerial dominance as well. I feel like could be pivotal with who we select in our lineup. So I think it might be more of a tactical approach rather than just choosing the best informed players that they have. So I'm going to go for Ruben Diaz in that centre back position. For left back, I think he'll be Gavardio, although he's had a bit of an up and down few games recently. I still feel like he's such a good player. Traditionally a centre back, but the way Pep Guardiola has made him into a very attack-minded fullback, and he's been chipping with the goals as well. So definitely want to keep an eye on. I'm still annoyed that we never signed him because he's a Liverpool fan as well. But hey, that's another discussion for another day. Now on to the midfield. In the middle, I think it has to be Gundogan. It couldn't be anyone else. Although you could probably suggest that Rico Lewis could play in that role, or a bit far-fetched, but even Mateus Nunes, because he has played that role at his previous club in Sporting Lisbon. But I think Gundogan is the safe option here for this team. Bernardo Silva, for me, will play there. He will add that bite in midfield, but at the same time, he'll be the one that threads the through balls and adds that creative spark in the middle of the pitch. And on the right side, on paper, obviously, it makes sense to play your best players, but Rico Lewis has been playing a lot more. I'm not quite sure in terms of who he'll go for. I think because he didn't play midweek, it might be on the basis that he's got him starting this fixture. So I'm going to go for KDB. Although he hasn't started a lot of games in recent weeks, I was going through some of their results and he's been on the bench for most of the time. So yes, this is the midfield that I think Pep might go for. I feel like in this fixture, he's going to go for more experience more than anything else and try and get the upper hand on our team in that manner. So front three, obviously this the main striker. No one really else to select from in the squad, to be fair. So it's going to be Haaland. Big talk about who plays on the wings. You've got the likes of Grealish, Doku has made a return. You've got Phil Foden and Savino, who's been fantastic so far this season. Foden's been quite average, to be honest with you. Foden really hasn't lived up to the bill, in my opinion. It's a very interesting one. I feel like he'll go for Grealish on the left side just because he normally tends to have good games against Liverpool. So I think he'll go for Grealish. And on the right wing, it's between Foden and Savino. Me personally, I'd go for Savino. I feel like he's been the more informed player this season. But I feel like he might just go for Foden on that right side. And Savino's actually played in a left wing position, which is, he can play there. Obviously, he's left footed, but his natural game or the way he's really had an impact is from that right side. So yeah, Pep Guardiola already playing players in the wrong position. So this is my lineup for the Man City team. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like I've just fielded like the best 11 in terms of ability wise, and I've not really taken form into account. But a lot of these players haven't played a lot. So Kevin De Bruyne hasn't started a lot of games. Grealish hasn't as well. And I feel like these are the type of players that will literally just come on and have an impact all of a sudden. And that's what you want, especially against a team like Liverpool that's high in form right now, top of the table, and you want to disrupt their momentum however possible. So I think this is the formation that they go for. I don't see Gundogan being around these sort of areas. He's going to be a sitter, a deep playmaker. And then you've got Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne coming a bit more infield. And then Foden and Grealish providing the width. And then you've got Haaland. And if required, if they feel like they need to be a bit more defensive minded, not his strongest asset, but Bernardo Silva could drop, and that allows him and De Bruyne to have that sort of free roaming role. So yeah, that's the way I see them setting up for this fixture. The danger men for me, obviously Haaland, obviously the main goal scorer of this team. But I feel like, as long as you're able to challenge him from a physical point of view, then you can get the upper hand on him, and he doesn't really tend to get involved in the build-up. So if you can eliminate him from the game due to a physical battle, then you've lost that kind of his impact in that team. Kevin De Bruyne showing signs of not being fully fit or lost a bit of speed, I have to say, but he still has that intricate passing that can open up a defense with one simple pass. So he's definitely one to look out for. Silva, still a very hard-working midfielder, despite still see him as a rat, but in terms of as a footballer, he's still able to make things happen. Hard-working, creative spark for this midfield. Foden and Grealish got to step up in this one for City. Foden, for me, has he's played a lot of games and he just hasn't delivered. Grealish has been a bit more bit part, so in terms of his argument, is probably he hasn't had a prominent role in the team. So this would be a good opportunity for him to stake a claim. And another player, I'd have to say, Gvardiol. He's been coming up with a lot of goals for City in recent weeks. He's had like 3 runs and he's been shooting like he's a prime striker. So I have to pinpoint Gvardiol as well. He's definitely one to look out for. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments of this team and the tactics as well. And who do you see as the danger men in this team? Or have I got the selection wrong and maybe you've got different ideas? Feel free, we can have a discussion about it together. So what we'll do now, we will move on to the home team, and that is Liverpool. So for me, Kelleher remains in goal. I know a lot of fans would probably say that reinstate Alisson as he's back and available to play. I wouldn't. I think Kelleher has been in such great form. The game last night, for me, just cements his place for this fixture this weekend. Afterwards, we can have a discussion. But for this fixture, there's no way you can take him out. He was phenomenal yesterday. And if he's able to produce another performance like that this weekend against Man City, I'll be honest with you guys, there's nothing to say that, Alisson just walks into this team. Previously, I'll probably say he does because of, the level of his playing ability, one of the best goalkeepers in world football. But when a player like Keller is in such rich vein of form, I just don't think you can disregard him like that. So there'll be more heavy rotation, I think, going forward with Alisson back now, especially with us gaining 15 points in the Champions League. I feel like the remaining 3 fixtures in that competition, these keepers will be rotated. I think Keller will play those remaining 3 games, and I think Alisson will play the Premier League games from next week onwards, in my opinion. So that would be my prediction. But Kelleher's still involved, and I feel like he deserves to play in this very important fixture. So he remains in goal. Now, in terms of Conor Bradley, I think he'll be available. It looked like he picked up cramp from what I saw on the pitch. But I'd still go for Trent. Even if Conor Bradley was available, I'd go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Even if he plays for like an hour, because I don't know how fit he is. If he is fully fit or if he's just good enough to play an hour, who knows? I think it was a hamstring injury that he picked up as well. So you've got to be very careful with Russian players from that sort of injury. So I'd play him, but I'd probably play him for like an hour, try and cause as much damage in the first half, and then manage his game better and then take him off and then replace him with Bradley or Joe Gomez, whoever's available on the bench. On the other side, it has to be Robertson because we don't really have any more options. Tsimikas is still unavailable from what I'm aware. Big shout would be Joe Gomez could play in that role. But I think Robertson will remain at left back. And then you've got Van Dijk in the heart of the defence. And even though it looked like he limped off with a serious injury, I still think Konate will be fit for this fixture. So I'm just going to go based off what I think would happen. And I think he will be available for this fixture. So that's my backline there. In terms of the midfield three, I'll be honest with you guys, it's not going to change from what was presented last night. I was impressed with all three of these players. For me, they deserve to be in the lineup for this fixture as well. I probably would have put in Szoboszlai instead of McAllister based on squad rotation and just managing minutes. But McAllister was so good against Real Madrid yesterday. I feel like he's finally picked up the form that we've used to seeing from last season. So I've got to keep that train rolling. So for me, he remains in the team. And Salah on the right side. Big debate in terms of who starts on the left side. Is it Gakpo or Diaz? Gakpo came off the bench yesterday and scored a fantastic header. I'm still going to go with Diaz. I think if he is up against Kyle Walker, I think Diaz is the guy to, take him out and then really cause havoc on that left flank. So I'm going to start with Diaz on that side and then Darwin Núñez up top. So that would be my lineup. Now, in terms of the team that I presented earlier on, in terms of Man City, they're going for a flat 4-3-3. We're still playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. I think with Diaz up against Kyle Walker, I think Diaz, the way he's been playing this season, he should have the upper hand. Salah up against Gvardiol is going to be an interesting battle. I have every faith that Salah can definitely get around Gvardiol because people are still underestimating Salah's speed and pace and his one-on-one duels. He still has the ability to get around players, in my opinion. So hopefully he can able to produce that this weekend. So that's going to be interesting in terms of those one-on-one battles on the flanks. Gravenberch and Jones as a collective, a lot of people would have dismissed that a few months ago, but they've proved that they can play together, they can work as a unit, and they can be very, very effective and efficient on the pitch. So for me, that remains. And I feel like that's going to cause Gundogan and Bernardo Silva issues because, even De Bruyne as well, that midfield that I presented, there's not a lot of legs there. These are players, again, older. They don't have the same energy like they used to. They're up against a midfield of Gravenberch, Jones, and McAllister. Experienced but youthful at the same time. So, midfield battle, I feel like we've got the edge in this one. And in terms of our back four, I think we've got enough quality to keep Haaland with Konate and Virgil van Dijk. They'll have him in his pocket, in my opinion. And then Foden and Grealish, I don't think they'll. The only one concern would be Robertson. I don't mean to be a downer, but I think if Foden has one of his good days, then Robertson could have a difficult afternoon. And if that is the case, then I'd probably bring on someone like Joe Gomez to try and sharp shop and have a right-footed player on our left side to block Foden from coming in field because that's where he's more impactful. So definitely different ploys in terms of how we can stop them. But this is a very strong Liverpool team, and I definitely feel like we can capitalize and get all 3 points. before I present my score prediction, I'm going to go through some of the comments here. So big up to everyone with the comments. Abdul Rahim, he says, hi Ozzy, guest and chat. Assalamu alaikum. How are you all doing? Big up to yourself, Abdul. Thank you for your comment as always. You're doing very well. Thank you. I hope you're doing good, Abdul. He says, Liverpool, Man City on Sunday. Bring it on. We need players in the right to push to win the EPL and UCL. We need to give respect. Many thanks. 100%. You know, I feel like because they've been in such terrible form, people think it's going to be a walk in the park. I don't think that's going to be the case. This will still be a team that we have to, you know, be on top of our game and make sure we, you know, don't go there complacent or thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be far from it. So we definitely need to produce a dominant performance like we did yesterday against Real Madrid. That is the level of performance that will get us the win tomorrow. And I'm hoping that will be the case. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but yes, bring it on indeed. Abdul's comment saying, lineup prediction breakdown. Our team will play head-to-head analysis upon the strategy. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I want the 11 points. So yeah, I've literally just gone through all of that. Abdul, so big up yourself there. And that's it. Why did he do his press conference today? Or did he do it today? I thought he was going to do it on Friday. That's strange because normally it's always on a Friday morning. Has he mentioned anything regarding any sort of injury updates? Because I totally missed that, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, you're right. He did do it today. Oh, I completely missed that. I've not been around. So, okay. Interesting. No idea. No idea why he's done that today instead of tomorrow. Abdul said next 5 games: City, Newcastle, Everton, Girona, Fulham. Injury update. So yeah, in terms of Jota, Alisson, Elliott, Trent. So Alisson and Elliott should be back in the squad, from what I know. Trent, he was in the bench yesterday against Real Madrid, so he should be fit and ready to play. Remains to be seen how long and how many minutes he can play. I think I wouldn't say he's fully fit to play the whole 90 minutes. He'll probably play an hour and then maybe taken off. Or if he doesn't start, he'll play like the remaining half an hour, for example. So I'm not sure in terms of the sort of magnitude of how fit he is, but he's definitely ready to play in this fixture. When will Salah and that Trent be signing their contracts with the ownership of FSG? Abdul, I have no idea. If I'll be honest with you, I heard slight inklings or rumors today that Virgil is set to sign a new contract, but look, that's not me telling you that's a fact. That's just rumors that I'm hearing on social media, and you know how social media can be. It'll say one news one day and then it'll be denied the next day. So at this stage, it's very early to say. We've not heard from any credible source that the contracts have been agreed or signed to that extent. So all we have to do is wait and see. Let's see how it goes. And Abdul says, how about the interest in Kirkes, Frimpong, Zubimendi, Edison, and Jokers by LFC? So in terms of Kirkes, I definitely believe he is a target for the club. I just don't see him being a target for the next window. It's probably for next summer. Frimpong, I haven't heard any recent rumors. So if there is one, that's interesting. But yeah, I just don't think he'd fit our team. I really like him as a player. I rate him very highly, but he would only suit us if we played with wing backs, and we don't really play that sort of system. So I don't think he would be a real target, in my opinion. Zubimendi, I still feel like we've got interest in the player. Whether we, continue our pursuit of him in the January window remains to be seen, but sources are suggesting that that could be the case. So we'll see. Edison, I haven't really had any links around him in recent weeks. Still, I would say a player that should be under the scouting radar because he's still, for me, a very talented player. Just remains to be seen if they believe he's ready to play at Liverpool level. So that's probably the big question. And Gyökeres, yeah, he's going to demand a big transfer fee. I think they would be willing to do business in January, but it would be around that sort of 70 million mark. I don't think Liverpool would want to sign a striker in January. However, if he was a summer target and someone was trying to sign him, maybe we'd go into bring our summer plans ahead. But I just don't see it happening. So Joe Chris, a good player. I really like him. Player I really rate as well. I just don't know if it's a realistic target, if I'm being honest with you. Because with FSG, I feel like they'll, they do the whole data metrics. He's not the youngest of strikers, he's around 28, I believe. So for them, they might consider him as old. So he might not fit their bill. But in terms of what he brings to the table, I think he's a good striker. In terms of stylistic wise, probably not too dissimilar to Darwin Núñez in terms of causing chaos, but he's more clinical, that's for sure. So a player I would really like to see at the club. I just don't think it's realistic, if I'm being brutally honest. And was asked, can you please provide me with a list of players acquired by FSG during the January 2005 or summer 2025 windows? So that's you asking me to forecast. So yeah, me forecasting is what I want. I don't know if it will be what FSG actually do. It's a good question. I would love to say that all contracts of Virgil van Dijk, Salah, and Trent are extended in January, and we sign a midfielder. Let's just say Zubimendi. I don't think that would be the guy, but let's just say we sign Zubimendi, someone of that ilk. And in the summer, I can see us definitely signing a left back. I would personally go for Hato. Hato is the player that I really like. In place of Tsimikas, who would probably be the player that ends up departing. It's still Robertson. I think Robertson, due to what he brings off the pitch, still has a big role to play in the squad. So I don't think he will leave anytime soon. Although I know fans are disgruntled with his recent performances, and quite rightly so. And I've pinpointed to say that he is a bit of a weakness in our team when we're playing against a team like Man City. So hopefully, touch with that doesn't haunt us this weekend. But yeah, I think left back will be addressed. I could see us possibly signing a centre back as well. If someone like Joe Gomez left the club, Joe Gomez would probably be the only centre back I see leaving. And he probably would deserve it because he's been such a great player to us over the years, and he probably deserves to play first in football elsewhere. The ideal replacement for him, in my books, would be Diomande from Sporting Lisbon. I think that's the guy that would really add a lot of balance to our defense in terms of quality and squad and depth as well. So yeah, that would be the one that I would want us to sign. So it's not a left-footed centre back. Surprise there. But that's why I would like Hato, because he could be an option if we wanted a left-footed centre back. But he would probably be a left back in our team. And I'd probably sign a striker. Darwin Núñez possibly to Lee. I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion. And then sign someone like Isaac. I really do like Isaac. I've heard rumors that he's unsettled at Newcastle, so that could be one where we take opportunity. Or maybe we get someone like Mamush, who for me looks a good player, very exciting prospect. He's certainly a player I'm keeping an eye on. So whenever I get a moment to catch a Frankfurt game, I'm definitely tuning just to watch how he performs. But he definitely can play that Jota role that he's currently doing right now. So we would have two players that that have similarities. So Mamush would be a more of a realistic one. I think Isaac would cost an arm and a leg. But so yeah, that would be my forecast for January and summer. I don't know if FSG would do that because it's very hard to predict what FSG would do. But I feel like what I've asked for isn't too crazy, isn't too unrealistic. But yeah, feel free to let me know what you think. Ad was also asked, it is imperative that we secure a significant championship by the conclusion of the current sporting season with head coach Armstrong and current players this season. Well, I remember you asking me earlier on what would be a realistic target for us under a new coach. And I said, look, I'd be happy for us to be challenging for top four and maybe collect a domestic trophy. And my stance hasn't changed. Obviously, we're number one right now, so we're surpassing my realistic expectations there. So if we're able to get a league title, maybe even Champions League, I'm all for it. So look, at this stage, very hard to predict what will happen, but we're currently in the right strides. We're top of both leagues in terms of the Premier League and the Champions League. What more can we ask for? So, I think Arsenal for me has definitely surpassed my expectations of him as a coach. Not because I had any low expectations, I just wasn't familiar with his game. That's me being as blunt and honest with you. So I'm pleasantly surprised in terms of the impact that he's able to perform as a new coach and replacing an iconic manager like Jurgen Klopp. So he's definitely, doing a miracle right now. Let's just put it like that way. So, and rival fans are worried. Let's be honest. Dad said, do you know when Jota could be back, and also who marks Haaland? So, in terms of Jota, no, there hasn't been any sort of further development regards to his injury because it was I think it was a broken rib or a rib injury to an extent. It's one of those ones where you can't really put a date on it because it's not something it's not like an active body part you use to kick a ball, obviously, but I think it just depends on how he's feeling day to day. So they'll just take it at that kind of speed. So right now it's a bit unknown in terms of how how serious the injury is, but hopefully he'll be available soon. So we've got a lot of fixtures coming up in December. Hopefully he'll be available in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. Sorry, you also asked who marks Haaland. So for me, it has to be Van Dijk. Van Dijk will be the centre back that is dominant. But if Haaland wants to shift over to left side, I feel like for Van Dijk and Konate is going to be zonal in terms of who picks on Konate. If Konate wants to be on that side, then Van Dijk's got him. If he wants to be on the other side, then Konate's got him. And both defenders are equally adaptable in that situation. They can both defend up against Haaland. From a physical point of view, for speed, for power, they can all match him. So I don't have any concerns. It's just that if we're able to, get caught out of possession, or if we're giving them too much space in the middle of the park and they're able to, lift balls above the defense or through balls that are killing our shape as a defensive unit, and he's through on goal, then that's when you can't stop him. He's unstoppable in that kind of moment. But when it comes to build-up play, he doesn't really get involved. So if we can eliminate him from physical battles, then we've got the upper hand right there. So it's going to be very key in terms of how we manage the game and try and reduce the influence from their midfield as well. Where can we pressure City? So as I mentioned previously, I think it'll be from the wings, especially if I think Walker does start in this fixture. I think Diaz is going to have a huge role. But I also feel like our midfield is quite superior at this minute. Maybe on paper it's not, because you've got De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva. On paper they are elite midfielders, right? But in current form right now, you've got Gravenberg, who's probably the best midfielder in the Premier League and probably even in Europe, in my opinion, or one of, I wouldn't say the, but I'll say one of the best midfielders in Europe right now. You've got Jones, who's been in such great form in the last few, since the Chelsea game. And the level of maturity he showed yesterday, the control of his first touch and then gliding with the ball, he's really up the levels this season. So as a unit on paper, you wouldn't think they work together, but they do. They do complement each other's games. So I feel like they're doing really well. And McAllister's got a bit of a free role. He can shift to the left sometimes. He can cut in. He's threading some lovely balls, especially in the Real Madrid game, second half, from what I remember. So we've got a player that can cut through the defense, and he could be very key in terms of opening up that City defense. And the City defense have been very vulnerable this year. So I think McAllister will have a very important role in terms of how we play this Sunday. Uh, Abdul says, can you please provide analysis, knowledge, experience, and breakdown of Man City's weakness and potential areas of vulnerability that we can exploit to effectively impact the game and score goals? So I pretty much just mentioned that regards to Daz's comment. I think, let me just put their lineup so it's a bit more. So I seriously feel like our midfield can definitely overrun their midfield in terms of what you see on the screen. Kyle Walker, I know he's still a quick fullback, but we can definitely, get Diaz up against him one-on-one, pause, and have Robertson doing overlapping runs, so it could kind of add a bit of uncertainty on his side of the pitch, and that would reduce to De Bruyne dropping deeper and trying to defend for his teammate there, and then you've already lost his influence in the team. So for me, it's the midfield battle. I feel like we will win that battle based on energy, based on not technical ability, but in terms of driving the ball. Because I feel like we've got ball carriers in our team now. Before, in the past, when we had the likes of Henderson, Fabinho, Gini, they were good players, but they weren't really driving the ball. They weren't there to create anything for the front players. They were there to be industrious midfielders to stop the other team from attacking and try and be a bit more influential in that manner. This team, they can do everything. They're literally box to box, and all three of them can switch around if required. So they're all very multifunctional. So I feel like they're going to have trouble up against our midfield three, and the front three that the Man City that I presented here. They don't scare me. The player that I would be concerned when he comes on off the bench would be Savino or Savio, whatever you want to call him. I've seen Savino, so I've been calling Savino today. He looks a good player, really, really good player. He looks like a Mahrez regen to me. So if he comes off the bench, I feel like he's more impactful than Foden this year. So if I was Pep, I wouldn't start Foden. I would start with Savino, but I just have a feeling that he would go and start Foden in this team. And even bring on Doku to cause a bit of havoc to our right back, whoever it is, if it's Trent or Bradley. But I feel like Trent has been so good defensively, that old notion of, he can't defend, he needs to get out of the way now, because it's not the case. He can defend, and he's proved that week in, week out this season. So it's a new and improved Trent Alexander-Arnold when it comes to that defensive duty. He's definitely up the levels in that form as well. So for me, in terms of what we have, this is an experienced team, but I feel like we've got a team that is in form, that has the energy to really capitalize and really go above and beyond and beat this Man City team. So it's going to be an interesting battle, to say the least. Very much looking forward to this weekend. And then Daz is giving me his predicted lineup. Big up Daz. He says Kelleher, Trent, Virgil, Ibu. If fit, not Gomez. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So Ibu's not fit, you'd go for Gomez. I'd agree with that as well. I'd go with that as well. Robbo, Ryan, Maka, Jones, Mo, Nunes, and you've gone for Cody Gakpo, which is fair. And then it's not good sign for Bradley according to injury room. Ozzie, but him and Ibu are being assessed. That's the last what I heard as well, that they're being assessed. I just feel like Ibu's one looked more serious than Conor Bradley. Just by the way Conor Bradley was on the pitch, it didn't feel like the injury was aggravating that much. He just felt like he felt something. So it could generally be a muscle pull or a bit of cramp. Sometimes when you have cramp, you feel it right away. But it could be where it was so sore that it felt like he injured himself, and it could just be, a form of muscle spasm in his leg there. So I don't know. We'll only find out, and that'll be tomorrow or possibly Saturday. I'm sure we'll get some clarification tomorrow. I'm surprised the press conference happened today, because we've had that addressed. But let's see what we hear tomorrow. And that says, according to David Lynch, they would be in. If not Bradley Ibu, it looks like a hamstring for Bradley. Okay, fine. Let's see. So Dad said he'd done it 7 hours ago. So that okay, fine, that makes sense. So as it stands, it looks like um, Ibu might be in from what you're saying, and Bradley is out of a hamstring. What I don't have Bradley in my team anyway, so um, and that's not because I don't rate him. I just think Trent will be better suited for his fixture. So yeah, let's see. We'll see how it goes. I can only predict in terms of what I have in terms of information in front of me. And then Abdul says Man City without Rodri are in a difficult position and also do not tick without him. I'm not complaining at all. Yeah, as you should have. And Abdul, no, they, yeah, he's definitely the cog in that team. Without him, they did have players that could kind of do a makeshift job. So the likes of Kovacic, he wasn't doing too bad, but then he's picked up an injury. But I always feel like he's better box to box. He's not really a number six. Gundogan is more of a deep playmaker, not really that type of midfielder. So yeah, it might be a position that they're trying to reinforce in the January window. But having said that, with the 115 charges, they might not want to, acquire a big asset so far into the season. They might want to wait for that outcome before they do anything, silly in terms of a financial point of view. So yeah, they're definitely missing Rodri. But that's their own doing, to be honest with you. And I don't have any sympathy whatsoever. They've always signed players for ridiculous fees, and they've always had strong um, depth in terms of certain areas of their squad, especially defense. They remember when they were signing 50 million defenders left, right, and center. It was just getting ridiculous. So if they haven't signed anyone to deputize for Rodri, that's their problem. Don't have any sympathy whatsoever. So yeah, they're struggling, and good for them. Because I couldn't care less. Yeah, current form, LLD. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier on. One draw, one win, and 5 losses in the last 7 games. 1-1-5. You can't write this stuff. It's all there in front of us. 1-1-5 it is. Abdul says we need to go for the kill against Man City on Sunday. Be ruthless on go and punish him in all areas of the pitch. The LSD need to make Anfield Fortress scream, shout, and boo at Man City players and Pep. I have every confidence that the Anfield crowd will be as electric as they were yesterday because the atmosphere there, yeah, it was definitely a European night. The way the fans were singing, the way they were chanting, they made it very hostile for the Real Madrid players, and I'm hoping that will be the same this weekend as well because I think it'll be needed to give that kind of that atmosphere to Man City that they're not just going to come in here and get anything from us. They don't have the best of records anyway, but we're not going to take that for granted. And if they want anything, they're going to have to fight for it. So we're ready, and we're going to make sure that we get the upper hand because if we get 3 points, we're 11 points away from Man City. So, hopefully that is the case. What happens this weekend? Now, in terms of my score prediction, I've been speaking so positively about Liverpool. It's only right that I go for a Liverpool win. I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 victory. I don't think Man City will score. I know a lot of fans have said that they will score and all this stuff. I don't agree with it. I feel like we're going to be defensively very sound. We're going to be hard to break down, but I feel like we're going to be very calm and composed in terms of how we play. I don't think we're going to go all guns blazing. We don't have to be. We need to just manage the way we play. Just be a bit more intricate in specific moments. Try and get that early goal if possible. It's not really the way we play. We normally try and pick up a goal probably after that 10-15 minute mark. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is when we start opening our scoreline there. So for me, it's going to be a 2-0 win for the Reds. And in terms of my predicted goal scorers, I'm going to go for Mohamed Salah and Darwin Nunez. So that is my match preview, and that is also my score prediction there. So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Abdul Rahim for your comments. Appreciate it as always. And a big up Daz as well for comments. So yeah, appreciate both of you engaging. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I will be doing a live watch along of this fixture, of course. Why wouldn't I? So the match is starting at 4 p.m. UK time this Sunday. So I'll try and be live from 10 to 4. But just hit that notification bell so you know what time I am live. And then also I'll be doing a match reaction show later in the evening around 10 p.m. UK time. Whatever the result, we'll go through the game, talk about the key moments, and then also I'll present my player ratings. And it's also a platform for you guys to come on and have your say. So I'll have a calling session. So yeah, wherever the situation, feel free to come on and have your say, and yeah, we can have a discussion together. So that is it in terms of the upcoming content for this week. Just got a last comment here before we close the show from Daz. He says 3-1 Reds. I said goals from Mo twice. Van Dijk, Trent, Haaland. Isn't that more than? Am I reading that wrong? Mo 2, Van Dijk, Trent 1, or is Van Dijk? I don't know what that means. Is one of them giving the assist, and then Haaland 1? Bet to see red. You know what? If that prediction is correct, I'm definitely gonna pin that and then put it on the next show if I can. So yeah, big up to yourself, Daz. But yes, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.